The rain hammered the roof like insistent fingers, demanding entry. I'd married Elias' father, Marcus, a decade ago, stepping into a ready-made family with all the caution of someone navigating a minefield. Elias was 18 then, fresh out of high school, his world a tangle of rebellion and quiet intelligence. I saw him as a project at first, a young man needing guidance, someone to cook for, to encourage through college applications and late-night talks about dreams deferred. But over time, those talks grew deeper, his laughter warmer, his presence a steady hum in my veins that I dismissed as maternal pride. He'd moved out years ago, built a life as a graphic designer in the city, but visits home were frequent, especially after Marcus's promotions kept him traveling. That evening, with Marcus in Chicago for a conference, Elias had come over just to check on things, he said. We ordered pizza, watched a mindless thriller on TV, the kind where tension builds in silences. But the real suspense was between us. I remember the way he set down his slice, wiping his hands deliberately, his gaze shifting from the screen to me. Lena, he said, not Mom. He dropped that years ago, a subtle rebellion that always sent a ripple through me. His voice was low, laced with something raw. We need to talk about this, about us. My throat tightened. I'd felt it building, like pressure in a sealed jar. The accidental brushes in the hallway, the way his eyes lingered when I laughed, the late-night texts that veered from casual to confessional. I'd told myself it was nothing, loneliness from Marcus's absences, Elias' natural charisma. But denial is a fragile shield. What about us? I asked, though my pulse betrayed me, thundering in my ears. He leaned forward, elbows on knees, his dark hair falling across his forehead. You know what I mean, the way things have changed. I see it in your eyes, too. It's not just family anymore, it's more. The words hung there, electric. I stood, pacing to the window, watching rain streak the glass. Elias, you're my stepson. I helped raise you, this isn't. You didn't raise me, he interrupted, standing too, closing the distance. You saved me. From the mess after Mom died, from Dad's distance. But that's not what this is. I feel it when you're near, like the air charges. Tell me you don't. I couldn't lie, not to him. The truth had been simmering for months, stolen glances at family dinners, the warmth of his hug lingering too long. Marcus was a good man, steady, but our marriage had cooled into routine. Elias was fire, unpredictable and consuming. It's wrong, I whispered, but my voice cracked, betraying the war inside. We talked for hours, voices rising and falling with the storm. He confessed how he'd fought it, dated others to drown it out, but always circled back to me. I admitted the dreams that woke me guilty, the way his success filled me with a pride twisted into something deeper. By midnight, the power flickered out, leaving us in candlelight. He reached for my hand, and for a moment I let him. The touch was a spark, igniting what we'd buried, but I pulled away, tears stinging. We can't, it would destroy everything. As dawn crept in, we pretended normalcy, coffee, small talk. But the glass I'd shattered was just the first crack. Weeks blurred into a tense normalcy, but the shadow of that night followed us. Elias started coming over more, under the guise of helping with house projects, fixing the leaky faucet, painting the guest room. Marcus noticed nothing, praising his son's thoughtfulness. I smiled through it, but each visit was a tightrope walk over an abyss. One afternoon, while Marcus golfed with friends, Elias arrived with tools and a determined set to his jaw. We worked side by side, sanding wood, our conversations skirting the edge. Remember that summer trip to the lake? He asked, brushing sawdust from his shirt. You taught me to skip stones. I was 20, pretending I didn't notice how the sun lit your hair. I laughed it off, but inside, memories flooded. The way he'd looked at me then, already a man, his swimsuit clinging, my thoughts straying where they shouldn't. We were family, I said firmly. Are we? He challenged, setting down the sander. Dad's always gone, and you're vibrant, Lena, you deserve more than this half-life. His words pierced. That evening, alone after he left, I found an old photo album. Pictures of us all, Elias' college graduation, where I'd hugged him too tightly. Holidays where our eyes met across the table. The attraction had roots, watered by shared losses. His mother's death, my own failed first marriage. It wasn't sudden, it was inevitable. Then came the event that shattered our fragile peace, a family reunion at a rented cabin. Marcus insisted, hoping to reconnect. The first night around the fire pit, stories flowed with wine. Elias sat beside me, our knees brushing under the blanket. Later, when others slept, we walked to the lake's edge, stars mirroring in the water. I can't stop thinking about you, he murmured, his breath warm on my neck. What if we just explored this discreetly? Temptation clawed. I imagined it, the thrill, the release, but visions of betrayal flashed. Marcus's trusting smile, the family we'd built. No, I said, stepping back. It would poison everything. He nodded, hurt flickering in his eyes, but didn't push. We returned separately, but sleep evaded me. The next day, a hike turned tense when we lagged behind the group. In a secluded clearing, he kissed me, sudden, desperate. I froze, then responded for a heartbeat, fire surging. But I shoved him away. Stop. This ends now. The drive home was silent agony. Marcus sensed the chill but blamed fatigue. Elias texted apologies. I deleted them, heart aching. Yet the seed was planted, growing in the dark. Months passed in a haze of avoidance. I threw myself into work, volunteering at the local shelter, anything to fill the void. Elias respected the distance, his visits rare and polite, but fate, or folly, intervened with a crisis. Marcus's car accident. Not fatal, but a broken leg, hospital stays, rehab. Elias moved back temporarily to help, turning our home into a battlefield of unspoken tension. Nights were the worst. With Marcus medicated and asleep, Elias and I handled the mundane, meals, laundry, quiet evenings in the living room. One such night, as I folded towels, he entered, exhaustion etching his face. This is hell, Lena. Pretending nothing's there. I sighed, setting down the stack. It has to be, for all our sakes. But vulnerability cracked us open. He shared his fears, losing his dad, the weight of responsibility. I confessed my loneliness, how Marcus's absences had hollowed me out long before. Tears came, and with them, comfort, a hug that lingered, evolving into something more. His hands on my back, my face in his shoulder. The kiss that followed was inevitable, charged with pent-up emotion. We pulled back, breathless. We shouldn't, I gasped. But we are, he replied, eyes fierce. That night we crossed the line in whispers and touches, guilt mingling with ecstasy. It was raw, emotional, a release of years' tension. But dawn brought regret. Marcus stirred upstairs, we dressed in silence, the act feeling like theft. It happened again and again, stolen moments in the garage, late-night confessions turning physical. Each time, the high was intoxicating, the low devastating. I rationalized. Marcus's recovery distanced him emotionally. Elias filled the gaps. But a close call, Marcus waking unexpectedly, forces confrontation. This has to stop, I told Elias in the kitchen, voice trembling, before it destroys us. He agreed, but his eyes said otherwise. As Marcus improved, Elias prepared to leave, but not before one final, heart-wrenching talk. I love you, Lena, not as family, as everything. Tears streamed. I know, but love isn't enough here. He left, the house emptier than ever. Life resumed its rhythm, but echoes lingered. Marcus recovered fully, our marriage strengthening through therapy we both committed to. Elias dated casually, sharing updates at family dinners where we maintained careful distance. Yet the pull remained, a glance too long, a text with hidden meaning. A year later, at a gallery opening for Elias' art show, themes of forbidden longing dominated his pieces, abstract swirls evoking our turmoil. We spoke privately in a back room. Inspired by us? I asked softly. He nodded. It was real, but I get why it couldn't be. Relief and sorrow mixed. We hugged goodbye, platonic now, but charged with what was. Back home, I confided fragments to Marcus, not the betrayal, but the emotional drift. It sparked renewal between us. Elias met someone new, married eventually. I watched from afar, a bittersweet ache. Our secret stayed buried, a shadow that shaped us without defining. Some lines, once crossed, redraw the map of your heart. I wonder in quiet moments, what if we'd resisted entirely? But life isn't what ifs. It's the choices that linger, haunting and human. Human.